And we are live. So welcome everyone to our July Genius Entrepreneur Mastermind. And I have with me Michael E. Gerber here. So hello, Michael.
Hey, how are you?
Very, very good. And which part of the world are you in today?
Are we speaking about around the world today?
Yes, we have people from all over the world that are here at the moment, which is awesome. And where are you located today?
I'm located in Boston,
Oh,
Massachusetts.
fantastic. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, this is a different time than we normally do because we normally have a timing which is in the afternoon in Asia, which is morning time in UK, and unfortunately in the middle of the night for a lot of people in the US. So because we have so many people now in the US also joining us, and you're in the US, we have changed our time with this. So looking forward to the call. Just before we jump into the conversation with Michael, I want to just give everyone that's on the call a bit of a navigation as to the key things that we are covering and where you can be asking questions or making comments as well. So we've got our Genius Entrepreneur Mastermind group on Facebook, which is obviously where all the social action happens. And you can see this is where we've actually got the link, which actually takes you through to the GEM call, right? And this actually you'll see is on our Genius U link. And here is the Genius U link, which is where we are right now. And this is where Kathleen had just actually posted the link, and a new link is coming up here, which I believe Kathleen is posting as we're speaking. So anyone who has comments, mark them on here. I'd love it if everyone actually starts by just sharing exactly where in the world you are right now. So you can see the video is actually up and running and we're live. So just post down here, drop a line, where are you in the world today, right? And then we will also be coming back on any immediate comments, questions, or anything that any of you have as we go through the conversation with Michael as well. This here is the title of where we're at. As you can see here, this is the first of the 6 months that we're now moving into the final 6 months of 2019 before we hit 2020. So this is all about how we're getting ready for 2020. And I know Michael's got a whole bunch of programs that he's actually getting involved in with his speakers, but also with Radical U. So we're going to be getting onto that as well. And at the same time, I'm going to be dropping some links which actually will take us to some of the activities that Michael is doing as well. And Michael's wife has been part of our Crystal Circle core for some time. So that's Luz Delia, who has been connecting up with our community for all of you who are the Crystal Circle members that are on the call as well. So that's a bit of an overview of where we are. Also, everyone make sure that on the questions I have now posted, all of the Q&As for April, May, and June are all on here as well. And you will see the video, which is right down below here. Actually, you can go and watch it because it's got all the Q&As right here, straight after my little triathlon I did in London 2 days ago. So that's all like hot off the press right now as well. So enough overview. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second, come back to Michael. And I'd love it, Michael, if you were able to share, because we were on a call and I was sharing with you that for your birthday that you just had, I think it was exactly 33 years ago when I first read the E-Myth. and you just turned 83 years old, and I just turned 50, which means in another 33 years, I'll be the same age as you are right now. So I'd love, first of all, for you to share what your perspective is of how you've seen the world change for entrepreneurs. What's changed, what stayed the same since you first wrote the E-Myth?
Well, it's a very interesting question, Roger, because I have a peculiar outlook on this whole entrepreneurial thing, this whole entrepreneurial question. I believe there's an immense amount of misunderstanding of what an entrepreneur truly is. So in this stage, in this age, we're truly defining entrepreneurship in a way that we never have before. We're taking apart that personality, that entrepreneur, the people everybody talks about and everybody raves about and everybody believes they are about, and discovered, in fact, that they're not about it at all. In fact, entrepreneurship is something significantly deeper, broader, grander, greater, and significantly more important than most people would believe it to be. I would say very, very simply, if there was not such a thing called an entrepreneur, there would be no economy. In short, entrepreneurs are the heart of economic development wherever they appear in the world. And the greatest appearance of entrepreneurs in the world happens to have been here in these United States of America. And I believe not politically, because this is not a political dialogue or monologue at all. It's a very, very visceral one. You might say it's an existential one. Now, I'm going to share my thought about that in a way that may create an immense amount of reactivity among your audience. But I'll do it in any case. If we believe in God, if we believe in the Creator, then in fact, as it said in Genesis, man is created in the image of God. And if man is created in the image of God, then man is indeed a creator. And unfortunately, none of us from the earliest in our lives have ever been taught, inspired, trained, grown to awaken the creator within. And so we become rather static personalities in our lives, subject to the whims and wills of our parents, of our teachers, of our bosses, of the economic reality that we live in, without truly understanding that that economic reality is a product of someone's imagination. Then, if that's true, then each and every single one of us have been given the gift to create. And if we've been given the gift to create, then the question becomes, to create what? Well, if we follow the syllogism, born in the image of God, born to create, then I'm suggesting to everyone within the sound of my voice and sight of my Panama hat that in fact we were born to create a world fit for God. And we failed at that. And so here you and I are, and we're discovering or describing or discussing what in fact I believe entrepreneurship is in this day and age. And I'm suggesting it's nothing other than what it was generations, tens upon tens upon tens upon tens of thousands of years ago. Nothing has changed. Indeed, technology has changed, but human beings haven't changed, except for the worse. And so I'm suggesting that we, you and I, as we speak to every single human being within the sound of our voice, have the responsibility, indeed the obligation, to awaken the creator within every one of them. And by saying that, then we have to pursue deeply what is an entrepreneur? How does an entrepreneur engage in the world? And why is that so absolutely significantly important for every single person listening to us here? Because to the degree we can touch their imaginations and rip it apart from all the conversations about how to, which is what the immensity of today is. How to, a new way, a better way, an expanded way, 5G, 6G, 7G, 30G, AI, PU, whatever the hell it might be. You understand, we're all off course because we're becoming less human. And by becoming less human, we're missing the whole purpose of life. So that's the work we've been doing.
The whole thought of creation being the beginning, like the creation being what actually creates all life, and that entrepreneurs are, as you say, those who are out there and they're creating as well. There's that whole element about how, with especially technology, social media, there's lots of people that you could argue are spending lots of time creating. I mean, like, you know, the number of people going out and just posting things on Facebook or posting things on Instagram, and in their minds, they're creating new things, or they're like writing new posts, and they're doing it all like ad infinitum without actually necessarily adding value or generating money, right? And the two of them are interlinked as well. What do you say when there are certain, like, and again, when, you know, even the internet, people would have said in the past, it's impossible that you'd have all these people all over the world just freely creating things like Wikipedia, creating things like Facebook, where it's all their content that actually, where everyone's a co-creator today. But what would you say about the difference of creating just for the sake of creating compared to creating something which is of true value?
Well, understand, in regard to what you've just referred to, Facebook, Wikipedia, all that's just noise, Roger. Understand, it's all just noise. It's all just nonsense. Do you understand? It's like buying shoes before we even learn to walk. It's all just nonsense. It is absolutely nothing to do with entrepreneurship in the way I'm speaking about it. Entrepreneurship in the way I'm speaking about it is truly transformational. Entrepreneurship in regard to social media is claptrap. So hear me, all it is a bunch of noise talking to a bunch of noise, not going anywhere. It's just chatter. Have you ever gone to Facebook? Have you ever actually been? Of course you have. Hear me, it's just freaking chatter. It's meaningless. I truly, truly know, because I have an intuitive experience of you. I truly know that you truly are and wish to dig deeper into the reality of creation, the reality of being human, the reality of truly touching people throughout the world. So my conversation with you about Radical You being a brand new enterprise whose purpose it is to truly awaken the entrepreneur within every human being on the planet is to effectively have that conversation. What is an entrepreneur? Who is the creator? And so let me describe, if I will, the fundamental premise of year one of Radical You. And I'm inviting every single person who's listening to us today and will listen to this and watch this in the future. You absolutely must join us in year one of Radical You. If you never do, year two or year three or year four or year five, because year one is the gestalt of it. Year one is the baseline of all of it. Year one is what I like to think about, and what Luz Delia and I have created, the dreaming room. It's the true place where an entrepreneurial spirit is awakened with the full force of his or her imagination and passion for creating more life, more meaning, not more money. More life, more meaning, not more money. Now understand, we actually believe this, Roger. You hear me? I know you know we do. And I've been doing this thing of mine, this small business thing of mine now for 45 freaking years. Hear me, we started the world's very first small business coaching company in 1977. The world's very first small business coaching company we called the Michael Thomas Corporation. I was Michael, he was Thomas. And at the very outset of that, we asked ourselves the earnest question. So what are we doing and why are we doing it? What are we doing and why are we doing it? And we entered into that conversation before ever opening the door to our new office. Because until we asked that conversation and then answered it, what are we doing and why are we doing it? We never would have achieved the result we have achieved over these 45 years, with literally hundreds of thousands of small business clients, millions upon millions of readers of my books. Never would have happened, never would have happened, never could have happened.
Can I ask you, just before you go further on next step, can I just ask you on that part, when the two of you kind of said, okay, let's really figure out what we're doing and why we're doing it, how long did that process take? Like, how long did you how deep did you go in that process?
Well, the first part of it, the part I'm going to speak to now, took several months.
Okay.
Constant day to day conversation. It wasn't about meeting. It was about absorbing each other's consciousness, each other's commitments, the superficial part of them and the deep, deep existential part of them. Tom was one of the most intelligent men I had ever met. I was the noisiest. Tom was one of the most intelligent men I had ever met, but Tom was attracted because the work I was doing. And the work I was doing, I had never been prepared to do. So you got to understand, all of this sort of is like a magical accident. Everything that I'm speaking about here is just a magical accident, which came out of this undying passion that I have for discovering what in the hell is this all about. I'm the wandering Jew on the planet. What in the world is this all about? Why am I here? What does this mean? Why am I so stupid? Why is this so grand? And so forth and so forth and so forth. So I'll cut short to the chase and say that we discovered four very critical things. We discovered, Tom and I, our dream. We discovered our vision. We discovered our purpose. And we discovered our mission. And Roger, you know, because you're in this world, in deeply, 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 deeply in this world. And I want to congratulate you for the extraordinary things you've accomplished. You know that dream, vision, purpose, and mission are usually used and mean the same thing. In our case, they don't. In our case, they represent the four critical personalities of an entrepreneur: the dreamer, the thinker, the storyteller, the leader. Without a dream, there is nothing worth created. Without a vision, there is no form for that. Without a purpose, we have no relationship with the people we're creating this for. And without a mission, it's impossible for the totality of this enterprise to become integrated in a way that it is stunningly scalable. So my dream way back then in 1977 was, in quotes, to transform the state of small business worldwide. Our vision way back then in 1977 was to invent the McDonald's of small business consulting. Our purpose was that every single small business owner called to our message, to our mantra, to our work, could be as successful as a McDonald's franchisee. And our mission was to invent the turnkey system, business development system, that would make it possible for us to realize our dream, our vision, and our purpose. And when you put all of those together, that's what an entrepreneur is. So every entrepreneur, I'm suggesting, must say, I have a dream. And every entrepreneur on the planet must say, I have a vision. And every entrepreneur on the planet must say, I have a purpose. And every entrepreneur listening to us today, whether they're an entrepreneur or not, and many, Roger, aren't, they're technicians suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure, every single one of them must have a mission. Because without a system that can integrate my dream, my vision, and my purpose, it will just flounder. You follow me? So my dream has emerged over all these years with Luz Delia to transform the state of small business worldwide. We must transform the state of entrepreneurship worldwide. And once we've transformed the state of entrepreneurship worldwide and small business worldwide, we will then discover the means to transform the state of economic development worldwide. And ultimately, then, you see the underwriting drive of everything we're doing at Radical U to transform the state of economic development worldwide. We're not a school that one goes to work on stuff. We're a school that inspires the imagination of our students to go deeper and deeper and deeper inside of themselves in order to discover what they're truly made of. And the stunning thing is nobody on the planet has ever been to a school like ours. And that's why I say every single one of the people listening to us should enroll simply in year 1 of Radical U. And then go through the 52-week series of sessions, video sessions, that move you forward through the dream, the vision, the purpose, and the mission. And then you go on, should you still be alive, to year 2.
Michael, your video has moved down a bit. Can you move it up a little bit more? Okay, we got you again. Michael, there's some questions I have around your story, because it's fascinating when you started in 1977, how you grew that. But just to bring this into super alignment with our community, the 4 archetypes that you went through, the dreamer, the thinker, the storyteller, and the leader, and how that links to dream, vision, purpose, and mission. We have got Wealth Dynamics, which is basically the profiling tool that we use, and it's linked to the 5 Chinese elements. And a lot of it is based on the same kind of archetypes that people like Carl Jung looked at, and people like Joseph Campbell was focused at. And we actually distilled that down into something called the Genius Test. And I'm saying this as much for everyone listening, as just a parallel to archetypes and how you brought them together as well, is that within the Genius Test, it talks about really the 4 key geniuses, which go all the way back to Aristotle, and that the likes of people even like Isaac Newton and Einstein actually looked at as well. And they basically link to Dynamo, where Dynamo is very much about the creative side, which is the same as your archetype, the dreamer. So it's all about that kind of dream, and starting with that whole dream and that picture of it. The thinker is very linked to our concept of steel, which is almost much more about the kind of the structure of how you bring something from a dream down into a vision. We have the blaze, which is much more the extrovert instead of the introvert, which is all about the storyteller, and it's all around the purpose that you talk about. And then we have the tempo, which is about timing, which is almost the opposite of the dynamo, which is head in the clouds compared to feet on the ground, which is very much the leader. The mission is the actual execution. So everyone's very familiar with archetypes, and everyone uses it in how they go about both thinking, following their strengths, getting their team together. I'd love to dig a little deeper into, was it back then in 1977 that you already were thinking in that way? Or was it something that formalized after, where you just did it intuitively at the time, and then you found that you kind of formalized it into those kind of ways of thinking later when you were doing your teaching?
Well, let me speak about that in perhaps a little different way than you might be asking for. I had a laugh, and there was an inner laugh. You didn't see me laugh. I had a laugh when you referred to Aristotle. The reason I had a laugh when you referred to Aristotle is because probably 1/10 of 1/0000000.489% of the people we're speaking to have a clue who Aristotle was, what Aristotle knew, what Aristotle did. So it's kind of a fey approach to the conversation because it's supremely intellectual. And because in working with small business owners, I know they're about as far from intellectual as Murray the baker is. I'd suggest that our approach to this whole conversation is significantly different than, in quotes, a quasi-academic approach. Archetypes, da 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 da. It's not that we couldn't do that, you understand. And it's not that I'm saying what you're doing doesn't make sense, understand. But I'm reaching out to the smallest of the small. I'm reaching out to Mr. and Mrs. Stupid. I'm reaching out to everybody on the planet who's really screwed up, Roger. Do you understand that their economics don't work because they don't understand what money is? That their lives don't work because they don't understand what relationship is? That their businesses don't work because they have no clue truly what a business is? And so this is my experience with the many, many millions who've read my books and come to me and say, Michael, you've changed my life, you've changed my life, you've changed my life. And I respond by saying, I don't think I have, but prove it to me. And some of them do. And when I say some of them do, I'm not being cynical, understand? I'm not being skeptical. I'm simply being a truly deeply bound realist about the condition that we face here on this planet of ours. And this must be felt, heart-centered. This must be felt if it's ever going to make a huge difference. Not thought, not mentalized, not constructed in a model that's sexy, that appeals to the higher mind of the intellectually disposed human being, that very narrow segment of the market. I'm speaking about every man. Radical You is created for every man. I had an incredible, in fact, brilliant entrepreneur in London. I'll not share his name, but he came to us and told us out of the blue, and I'd never met him, hear this, I'd never met him. He buys and sells small businesses. He buys them, develops them, sells them. He came to us and he said, I just got to tell you this story. And I don't know why I haven't told you this story before, he said. I've read the E-Myth Revisited, the man said, 20 times. And he said, the first time I read it, I had left the very real financial market to go out and do something on my own. And he said, I'm a really smart guy. So I figured I could buy and sell businesses and be immensely successful at it until I started doing it. And he said, it absolutely flabbergasted me how little I knew. And he said, somebody said, read this book. And the book was The E-Myth Revisited, Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It. And he said, I read your book and I swear to God, Gerber calls me Gerber. I swear to God, Gerber, I couldn't put the book down. I read it the second time. I read it the third time. And then I began to do it. He said, I'm calling you simply to pay you back. All these years later, you've been a partner of mine for all these years, and we never even met each other. But understand, The E-Myth Revisited, and you've read it, obviously. You've read it. The E-Myth Revisited is, on the one hand, an immensely simple book. Immensely simple. But Roger, when I wrote that book way back then in 1992, it was a product of our work at the Michael Thomas Corporation. We started out with a dream, a vision, a purpose, and a mission, and started to work on our company to create a methodology that would enable an ordinary plumber, an ordinary electrician, an ordinary whatever, go to work on their practice and build it in a way that they'd never imagined possible before. But you got to understand, it was visceral. In short, the stuff we taught them to do was visceral. It was so physical, and it was so, indeed, we never could say this. We could never say this because they would not have done this. It was so spiritual. It was physical, it was spiritual, and of course, it was logical. You understand the difference between logical and mental. It was logical. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So this thing that I'm describing, we just lost. There we are.
You're back. You're back.
Yep. This thing I'm describing at Radical You, and I'm not pushing Radical You. My point is, we are so inspired by it. We are so inspired by it, Luz Delia and I. Luz Delia said on March 4th, 2018, her birthday, the only day in the year which gives you a direction, March 4th, Luz Delia said to me, we're marching forth on March 4th to transform the state of small business worldwide, you and I, with the creation of Radical You. I set the date, she said. Whether we're prepared or not, we started. And we began to build session after 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 session, to the point where we had 300 and some odd students who just came willy-nilly to us because we didn't go out to, in quotes, tell everybody about it. We just wanted to do it and experience it and do it and experience it. And Luz Delia became the very first student of Radical You. Literally, as the CEO of our companies, she became the very first student of Radical You. Now, Luz Delia is not an intellectual. Luz Delia is a monumentally inspired woman, inspired for more life, more life. That's our message with each other, more life. Breathe, Michael, Luz Delia said. Breathe, Michael. She taught me to breathe, Roger. Hear me. She taught me to breathe, Roger. That's what we did. We breathed life into that extraordinary thing called Radical You. And I'm telling every single person you ever see, Roger, to join us for the first year of Radical You, and then help us build the second, and then help us build the third, and then help us build the fourth. So let me just share with you just very briefly. I know I'm taking up an awful lot of space and not following your direction at all.
Go for it. What the hell?
What the hell? I'm 83. what are you going to do to me? You can always pull the freaking plug. But hear me. Year one is what I just described. The dream, vision, purpose, and mission. We just got disconnected again.
Yeah, we lost it. We still got your audio. I'm sure you're going to come
Okay, you
back.
can hear me? Good.
Yeah, I can hear you. And your name's
Yeah,
really big,
year
so we know
one
who you're
is the
talking.
first 4 steps of what I call the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path is the path through which one goes from
I
a
got you.
company of 1 to a company of 1,000. So it is all about growing from a company of 1, me, you, Jerry, Judy, Luz Delia, whomever, and literally growing a company of 1,000. So it's the evolution of an enterprise. So the first 4 steps of that Eightfold Path, so critical, so absolutely critical. And the people listening to me right now have no idea how critical and fundamental they are. Most people say, Michael, stop this dreaming room crap. Stop this dreaming room crap. Stop this dreaming room crap. We don't need to dream. We need to make some money. We need to make some money, Michael. We need to make some money, Michael. It's all about money, Michael. And I simply say to them, guys, you got your head in the dark place. It's not all about money. It's about meaning. If there's one most important critical subject that we must address in this stage of the planet's growth, it's meaning. What's the meaning of this? What's the meaning of this? What's the meaning of this? And so year 2 is called the job. And the job is the client fulfillment system. So now that we have a platform for growth, a dream, a vision, a purpose, and a mission, now we go to work on the company that's going to make that happen. And the very first reality in a company that's going to make that happen is the product, is the service, it's what we do. It's what we do for the purposes of fulfilling a very real need among those people who are our central demographic model consumer. So we must truly, deeply understand and empathize with the people we're speaking to, not to give them what they think they need, but to give them something they never thought they needed before. That's why in every conversation I've ever had with a prospective client, they always come in with something they need, and they always walk out with what they actually need. And suddenly say, holy shit, Gerber. How did you know? How did you know? I said, I know because you know. Beneath all of the noise, beneath all of the stuff you say you want, a friend on Facebook, are you kidding me? What you really need is something core to your life. And that's what we're here to provide. Not to give it to you, but to awaken it within you. And hear me, we never would have achieved what we've achieved over these years, Roger. Never, ever, ever. If we literally gave people what they thought they want. Never, ever. We have to have a different conversation than that. So year 2 is the job. And that is the client fulfillment system. Year 3 is what we call the practice. Now, this is really an important thing to get. The practice is the client acquisition system. We're building an enterprise. We're building an enterprise from a company of 1, nothing, to something. We're building an enterprise. The practice is the client acquisition system. 2 parts, lead generation, lead conversion, plus the 3rd part that we've just completed, the client fulfillment system, the 3-legged stool. Now, when I talked about McDonald's, understand McDonald's is a three-legged stool. Lead generation, lead conversion, client fulfillment, the core operating systems every company must create, and they must be integrated in such a way that they're turnkeyed in order to operate consistently, continuously, so that I can replicate them. The practice is your franchise prototype. You get that? Now understand, people say, yeah, but I'm not going to franchise, Monkey. Yeah, but understand, every great growing company is a franchise, whether you franchise it or not. So like McDonald's, the most successful small business in the world, Ray Kroc, at 52 years of age, opened up his first store in Des Plaines, Illinois, and never worked in the store. He opened the corporate office of McDonald's down the street. He's a guy with a hamburger store. Understand, what did he do? He went to work on the store to perfect the system of the store: lead generation, lead conversion, client fulfillment, plus the money, plus the money, plus the money, to replicate it into a business, which is then year 4 of Radical U, called the business. So when we talk about a business, Roger, a business is nothing other than up to 7 turnkey practices. Think of a chiropractic business, 7 chiropractors. Think of a financial management business, 7 financial managers. Think about a plumbing business, 7 plumbers. Think about a consulting business, 7 consultants, utilizing the turnkey practice and then replicating that practice 7 times, plus a turnkey management system. The final step in the process of Radical U is the enterprise. So if a business is 7 turnkey practices, then an enterprise is 7 turnkey businesses plus a turnkey leadership system. You got it? You can't see
I can. It's okay. I can hear you. We can hear you. We can see your big name. Can you just share why 7? What's the magic behind the 7 number?
Say that again.
What's the why 7? Why not 6 or 8? Is there a key? Is there a reason?
Because 7 is ideal.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, got it.
7 is ideal based upon years upon years upon years of testing, and validating. 7 is ideal.
Got it.
Beyond 7, it's unyieldy. Below 7, it isn't rich enough. And 7 happens also to be a spiritually divine number, so that it just works out fine.
Sure. Yeah. I got it. Michael, you've walked through just pure gold there, right? Like the whole way you've walked through just how you layer and the steps to layer each part. And it feels to me, and this may be referencing back to your point at the very beginning, that people are in such a rush to try and get to step 3 or 4 or 5, where they're just trying to grab clients, or they're trying to replicate something that's not even worth replicating yet. And they haven't really actually started with something which has got enough spirit to actually be even worthy of replication to start with. What would you say? Because like, I know, like when you said 1977, I wasn't aware of that story, but that was a good 10 years before eMyth came out, right? So you clearly were going through a decade of really testing, measuring, working this system out. How long would you say it took for you to just figure out, as you said, the whole testing of even the 7? How long did it take for you to go, okay, now I know I've really got the right formula here?
We're still doing it.
We're
still doing it, Roger.
Yeah.
It never stops. Do you understand? The universe is so I won't use the word remarkable. The universe is so mysterious. It is so wondrous. They talk about the Big Bang. I'm just astonished by how stupid we all are when we actually make statements that are so verifiably stupid. As though that before the Big Bang there was nothing, and then there was a Big Bang of something. Now, how did this something happen to create all of that shit when there was nothing before it? It's just absolutely mind blowing, Roger. As we're sitting here talking, me at 83, you at 50, we're sitting here talking about the wonder of all this, the amazement of all this, the astonishment of all this. And everybody wants something right now. Do you understand? Nothing spectacular was ever created right now. Apple wasn't, Google wasn't, Facebook wasn't, nothing is. It takes time to be weathered in such a way that breakthroughs occur continuously. And you know this yourself. You know that the evolution of your mind and your imagination, your spirit, your heart, your love, etc., and so forth, your confusion is all a piece and a part of that puzzle of time. And your availability for new something that suddenly comes into your consciousness, and you say, where in the world did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's not happening at 50, Roger, and if that's not happening at 83, Roger, do you understand? Of course you understand.
Yeah.
Sure. It's a lost cause, Roger. So that also is what we bring to our students at Radical U. Mm-hmm. Hear me, an annual student at Radical U for chump change, to go through a process of discovery that they have never been introduced to before. Never, no matter how much education they've got, they have never done anything like Radical U. It is so intimate. It is so personal. It is so deeply compelling. It is so remarkable. And that's not because we created it, you understand. We just followed our muse in the process of asking the question, so how do we do that? How do we do that? How do we do that? Luz Delia looks at me, she tells me how. I look at her, I tell her how. We look around, she tells us how, he tells us how, and on and on and on and on as we meet all of these folks I've met over these years who have taken on the E-Myth and applied it to their sensibilities. And they come and they say, Michael, you've changed my life. Just like that. Imagine how remarkable that is, Roger. Just imagine.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to do this because I want to also make sure that we really, because this has been fascinating, but I want to make sure the last 10 minutes or so, I'm not going to be spending a lot of time taking questions because I think it's much more valuable us letting you go into your stream of magic, which you're going through right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share what's been going on with our community while you have been chatting. And I know also that as well as Radical U, I'm going to share with everyone exactly what, how to get involved in that and what's happening there. But I know you're also doing certain things with authors and with your titles, which I think is really fascinating as well. So I'm going to give you the last 10 minutes to share a bit more about that as well. But here, basically, all the comments, and they're kind of hilarious. So like we've been posting through as people are going, there's people all around the world that have been on here. Here's Helen from Lytham, here's people like Randall from Austin, Texas, California. So we do have the American contingent on here today, which is awesome. But we've got a lot of UK people because it's also, we have Denmark on here, Wales, Michigan, all over, right? So, but it's all Europe and the US because Asia is sleeping at the moment, right? So we've got all these different people that are on here. And while there are a few questions on here, I think we're going to let Michael continue to share as where
Roger,
he's at.
Roger,
yeah.
One moment. Are those all questions people are asking?
There are more comments around people agreeing with you in different areas, like, agreeing about evolving humanity for the evolution of the entrepreneur movement. We got like people quoting you, entrepreneurship in the way it's meant to be is truly transformational, awesome. So not so much. There was one or two questions around what do you mean by social media and so on like that, but they're not, I think you've already answered them to some extent. People clarifying what it is you're saying around dream, vision, purpose, mission, and lots of people, cool, making sense, people who are resonating with the things that you are talking about here, which is great. And Michelle making the point when you said Mr. and Mrs. Stupid that we're all geniuses on Genius U. So everyone's having a fun time listening to you, which is
Hey,
great.
Roger, is there anybody pissed off yet?
No one yet. You're going to have to try harder than that, Michael. we have a very open-minded group. So I am like, I'm going to sum up, Michael, that what I hear when I speak to you, and it's the same that I got when we were speaking last time as well, is you have this way of multiplying magic. It's like there's lots of people out there trying to multiply stuff that's not worth multiplying. You get so deep in the whole essence of what it is to just be a human, which, as you say, is so easily to forget about in the midst of everyone just going on with gadgets and with mechanisms which have no soul to them, right? So as you say, like, there's something around, and the fact that entrepreneurship allows you to actually create self-expression around your self-awareness, and how do you actually how do you actually turn from just work to your life's work, which I think is what's so powerful about the way that you express it, because it comes out just to your energy as well. I want to say to everyone here that basically there's a couple of things. First of all, we are working with Luz Delia on making sure that we have got an entry point into Radical U straight from Genius U. So you can actually, and it's just a coincidence that our Genius U links with Radical U. And so we are going to be basically making sure that we've got that linked through with a microdegree that supports all of Michael's work, because it is just so awesome. But you can also shortcut and go straight to Radical U and actually just get going and be part of it, which I highly recommend as well. And we're giving you all the links to actually do that as well, to be part of that too. But Michael, I'd love to come back to you on that whole aspect of how, you clearly are, would be now thinking about legacy as well, and the way you're bringing others in to further your work, and the way you're bringing authors in. Can you talk a bit around that and what your real intent over the next 10 years? If you could be 10 years down the line and say, okay, that was 10 years well spent. What is it that you would love to see for your own mission?
Absolutely. And thank you for asking me that, Roger. First of all, let me draw the conclusion to Radical U. Radical U will have 5 million students within 5 years. 5 million students within 5 years. And then Radical U will be acquired. Apple doesn't know this yet, but Apple will acquire Radical U, or Microsoft will. And they'll acquire it because they'll realize it is the first, most prodigiously profound method for transforming the state of individuals worldwide by awakening the creator within them. We need creators, Roger. You know that, I know that. We need creators. We need, as Walt Disney called them, Imagineers. And every human being has inside of themselves the potential to awaken. So we say entrepreneurs aren't born, they're made. And they're made by opening up their hearts and minds to a degree that they've never experienced before. That's our job. That's your job, Roger. That's Luz Delia's job. That's my job. That's anyone who's listening to us right now. That's your job. So we absolutely are thrilled to be able to speak to all of you out there who are moved by what Roger's mission is and are ready to do something beyond belief. We invite you to do that with us. The second key and critical thing that we're doing is applying eMyth, the eMyth logic, to every vertical market on the planet. And so toward that end, we have written and published now 19 vertical market eMyth books. The eMyth chiropractor, the eMyth plumber, the eMyth HVAC contractor, the eMyth attorney, the eMyth accountant, the eMyth landscape contractor, and on and on and on and on. We're looking for people who've applied the E-Myth religiously to the development of their practice and now want to take their success out to others in their industry, in their market, to become a co-author of an E-Myth book with me. And in the process of becoming a co-author of an E-Myth book with me, they will literally step out to transform the state of small business within that vertical market that they are so committed to. Now, see that there are 348 vertical markets we've identified. We've only gotten to 19. We're going to the rest. When you say the next 10 years, I'll be 93. I have a great friend, Bob Block, who is 92, and he's launching the most unbelievable enterprise on the planet at 92 years of age. Think about that.
That's amazing.
This man has, I think, 278 patents to his name in every industry under God. So hear me, folks. When I imagine 93, when Luz Delia imagines 93, when Roger imagines 60, hear me. It's a piece of cake. As long as you're alive and absolutely viscerally connected to the heart and passion of what you're there to do, to truly discover the meaning of all of this and to add your own mark to it. That's what I say when I say every life a legacy. So we're looking for vertical co-authors. We're looking for people who've been inspired by what I've done, what Luz Delia and I have done, what Roger has done, what great entrepreneurs continue to do. And we invite you to participate in this parade that we're launching in so many ways. So Luz Delia, is there anything else you'd like to add to that? Roger, is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
Well, I would first of all say absolutely everyone who's listening, because we have so many mentors on, any of you who really like the idea of actually being a co-author, you know, and having the E-Myth name, you know, behind you as well. I mean, it is part of that whole legacy. So number one, definitely, you know, Connect and Fast will connect you with Luz Delia and with Michael as well to make that happen for sure. And the second thing that I would say, just because I'd love for you, Michael, to leave any final words you'd like to leave with everyone who's sharing here. But I think there's some really super clear actions for everyone here, you know, knowing that we're going to be really promoting everything that you're doing and building the legacy of what you're doing with Ingenious You, knowing they can go straight away onto Radical You, and they should, for all those reasons that you've been talking about, and that it just fits so well in with everything that we talk about in terms of how important it is to really get value right before you start trying to systematize or multiply it. And then obviously, yeah, the whole idea of actually being able to be involved with a book and part of that legacy, I think, is awesome as well. I want to say one thing just before I give you a chance to say the final words here, Michael, which is there's part of me this weekend I just ran the London Triathlon, and I had a bike crash in the middle of it, right? And I was like, and it was very interesting because my mindset, because I hit these bikes, these bikes went down, and I went down with it as well. And my lesson out of it at the time, because I was very disappointed, because I wanted to finish the triathlon, and I couldn't because my bike was crashed. And so part of me was like, well, I've clearly pushed myself too much. I'm 50 years old. Who am I kidding? I'm far too old to be doing this stuff. I got to stop this. And then I got taken by ambulance to the medical tent. And while I was in the medical tent, I said, wait, that's the wrong lesson. I shouldn't be like saying the lesson is that I should be stopping. I should be saying that if something gets in the way, I should keep persevering. And they were about to put bandages on me, and I said, quit the bandages. I'm carrying on. And I went out and I did the whole run off the back of it with like blood off my knees and everything. And I finished it, right? And so I actually managed to finish triathlon off the back of it. And it made me think, you know what? There's still a long way to go, and the lessons never stop. In fact, the lessons actually get deeper. Hearing you and your passion at 83, and the fact that you have bigger goals than ever over the next 10 years, and this entire thing about youth that is so linked to the essence of life itself, which you just have demonstrated so well over the last hour. It's just been incredible. I just want to acknowledge you for that, and that you know the entire hour has probably taken 10 years, made me 10 years younger, or is going to actually make me have 10 years longer on the planet, one way or the other. So I want to say thank you for that, because it's been awesome. Would love for you to share whatever is final words you'd like to leave everyone with.
Well, Roger, first of all, you're really delightful. I want you to know that. And I love to be around delightful people because it adds the gestalt, the energy to all that we do. And understand all that we do doesn't lead to, oh, great, another great result. Oh, great, another great result. Oh, great, another great result. I'm just charmed. I'm just charmed. I'm just charmed. I'm a walking basket case. I'm a disaster. Because I am continually seeking out the impossible. Now, how do I do that? How do I do that? How do we do that? How do we do that? I'm constantly making mistakes. And if I weren't constantly making mistakes, I wouldn't constantly being successful. So effectively, I want to extend an invitation, Roger, to every single charmed soul in your audience. Every single technically wizardry driven whomever out there on the planet who wants to make a huge, 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 huge impact on the world of meaning, so that little children grow to discover themselves in a way they have never discovered themselves before. So mothers without husbands understand how absolutely critical they are to the lives of those little ones that they've been blessed to give birth to. So that veterans returning from whatever wars are received heartfully and spiritually, so that they can discover how to create and to grow and to give profound meaning to everything they do. I want everyone listening to me right now to know that that is available to you. And all you need to do is to go to Roger and say, Roger, Gerber me up. And Gerber me up, and Roger will then ask you, so what do you want to contribute to this maniacal thing that we're all doing? And start the conversation, Roger.
That's
I'm
fabulous.
putting it on you. Now, you might fall off the bike again, but what the hell?
What the hell? Exactly.
Somebody as cute as you, Roger, you'll never fall off forever. You understand that? So that's all I have to contribute.
That's fabulous.
Thank you for connecting to Luz Delia as you have. You know the spirit of that woman. Thank you for connecting to Luz Delia as you have, who leads not a charmed life, but an inspired life. And we're moving forward to make magic even more recurrent in a way that we've never done before. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you too. Thank you, Luz Delia. I know that Luz is there with you. So thank you very much, Luz Delia, for helping to organize all this. And thank you, Michael, not just for this hour, but for just making this planet a brighter place. It's been an amazing hour together. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to the next decade ahead as well. It's been fantastic. Thanks very much.
Every single one of you join us in year one of Radical You. Understand it was priced so that every human being on the planet could afford it. Everyone, everyone, join us.
Very cool.
We love
Fabulous.
You. Love
Absolutely.
you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys. Do drop your, whatever's your biggest learning, whatever's biggest thing, drop it on the comments down below. And then we'll also drop the link in for Radical You. And thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate it. Bye.